Alina sat in her quarters on the horizon ray, holding her grandmother's old book. It was full of drawings and notes, stories about the fire ships in the sky. As a child, she thought they were bedtime tales. Now, she wasn't so sure. Ella came in with a tablet. "I've decoded more of the message," she said.
What?
"It's not just a warning, it's history."
What?
The Martians saw them too. They tried to hide, but it didn't work. Alina looked up. "Did they say how to stop them?" "Not yet," Lila said. "Right. But the message talks about fire, light, and silence." "I don't know what that means." Back on Earth, the council still didn't believe them. They told the news to stay quiet. The people didn't know about the ships, so only a few high officials in the Horizon Ray crew knew the truth. Jonah was in the engine room, looking at the energy patterns. "The ships are sending out pulses," he said. "Low energy, slow waves, like breathing." Nate leaned over his shoulder. "So they're alive?" "I don't know," Jonah replied. "But they're not machines like ours. They feel ... old, like they've been waiting." More systems started to fail. One of the defense satellites above Earth stopped working. Then another. The moon base reported lights flickering. A small mining station near Saturn lost power for 10 seconds. Lena gathered her team. "This is not a drill. We have to show the world. They won't listen unless we prove it." They sent a message to a group of scientists who were open to strange theories. One of them, Dr. Karen Doyle, believed them right away. She had studied ancient symbols and thought the same ones on Mars were found in old Earth cave drawings. "We've all seen these in different cultures," Karen said in a call. "The burning circle, the falling stars, the silence after the sky turns red. These are not stories. These are memories." Lila showed Karen the Martian ruins. The story ends with one line: "We lit the sky and they left. I think they found a way to make the ships go." Karen nodded. "A special kind. Maybe something they don't like." Meanwhile, more strange things happened. A probe near Neptune showed the ships were moving. Not fast, but steady. They were coming closer. Nate watched the screen in silence. "At this speed, they'll be near Mars in a week." Jonah was already working on a plan. "If we can make a strong light source, maybe it can slow them down. Maybe it can make them stop," Leela added. "Or it might make them angry." Alina made her decision. "We try. We don't wait. Act." They used old parts from the Horizon Ray to build a light emitter. It was small but powerful. They called it the beacon. Gave off a pure white pulse every few seconds. They aimed it at the fleet and turned it on. Nothing happened at first. The ships kept moving. Then one ship stopped. It just froze in place. The others slowed a little, then kept going. "It worked," Jonah said. "At least on one of them." Lena smiled for the first time in days. "Now we find out how to stop them all?" But then the Horizon Ray shook. "They've seen us," Nate said. One of them turned toward us. The light from the beacon had gotten their attention. Leela looked at the data. "The ship is scanning us. I think it's angry." The crew prepared for the worst. Alina gave the order to turn off the beacon. The ship stopped moving. It just floated there. The rest of the fleet continued toward the inner planets. Jonah looked at the screen. "We made contact." Alina stared out the window. "Now we need to survive it." The year was 2238. Earth had changed. The countries were now one. They called it the Earth Coalition. People lived not only on Earth, but also on the Moon, Mars, and some moons around Jupiter. Technology was strong. Space travel was normal. But one thing never changed. Stories told by grandparents about things that once came from the stars. Most people thought they were just myths. Alina Brooks stood in the control room of the Horizon Ray, a small research ship floating near the edge of the solar system. She was the commander. Her team included Nate Lawson, the pilot, Lila Hart, the science officer, and Jonah Reed, the engineer. They were sent to find out what happened to a drone that stopped sending signals near the Kuiper Belt. Alina looked out the window. Stars blinked in the dark sky. She remembered her grandmother's stories. Fleet of fire that came from the stars, burning everything. She never believed them. But something about this mission made her uneasy. Nate sat at the controls. "Still nothing on radar," he said. "No movement. No heat. Just cold space." Jonah checked the systems. "There's something out there. It's not a rock. Too perfect in shape." Lila turned from her screen. I think it's a ship. Maybe many. But they're not moving. They moved closer. Then they saw them. Shapes in space. Round, dark, and silent. At least 20 of them. Just floating. Not spinning. Not blinking. Not doing anything. Just watching. Lila took pictures and readings. They're made of something we've never seen. Not metal. Not stone. Something else. Alina felt cold. Are they alive? She asked. No signs of life, Lila said. But they are not dead either. I think they're asleep. The crew was silent. The ships were huge, bigger than anything humans had built. And they were all facing the same way toward the sun. Alina gave the order. Take all the data. We go back. Back on Earth, the council met with them. Alina showed the pictures, the readings, and the location. But the council said it was nothing. Just rocks. Just tricks from space. They laughed when she said they looked like ships. It's just old space junk, one of the leaders said. Alina was angry. You sent us out there. You told us to find the truth. Now you ignore it. Lila stood beside her. There's more. I found something strange in the data. A signal hidden in the noise. Like a voice. The council did not listen. They ended the meeting. Later that night, Lila showed Alina the message. It came from the ruins on Mars. Long ago, a race lived there. Now they were gone. But they left a warning. They burned our stars, the message said. They are not gods. They return. Alina's hands shook. My grandmother said the same thing. Nate was quiet. He believed her now. We have to prepare, he said. If they wake up, Earth won't be ready. Jonah worked all night, going through more of the data. He found old symbols, the same ones from Earth myths. The same ones drawn by lost people thousands of years ago. Somehow, the stories were real. The next morning, power systems around Earth started to act strange. Satellites blinked out. Mars base went dark for 1 minute. People said it was just a glitch. But Alina knew better. The ships were waking up. And Earth had only just started to remember the truth. The horizon ray floated in silence. The beacon was off. The strange ship that had turned toward them stayed still, did not move, it did not attack, but it was watching. Alina stood at the front window. She could feel something like pressure in her chest. It was fear, but also something deeper. She felt like she was being studied. Nate kept his hands near the controls. If it moves, I can take us out fast, he said. Lila stared at the data. It's not just watching us, it's reading us. Scanning our systems, our heat, our voices. Jonah looked at the energy chart. It's learning. Back on Earth, the news had started to leak. A few scientists spoke out. People asked questions. Some believed, some did not. But then something happened that no one could deny. Fort Titan, the defense station around Saturn, went dark. No warning, no signal, just silence. Then, a few seconds later, it was gone. The feed showed a bright flash, and then nothing. It was destroyed. Earth was in shock. The council held an emergency meeting. Now, they believed. Ships were sent out to protect Mars and the moon, but the fleet was moving fast now. They were no longer hiding. People saw them through telescopes. Huge ships, glowing with red and orange light, heading toward the inner solar system. Alina and her crew were ordered to move closer and try contact again. Nate didn't like it. They just destroyed a station. What do they think we can do? Lena answered. We're the only ones who have seen them up close. We know more than anyone else. They sent out a peaceful message. Lila's voice spoke slowly and clearly. We are humans. We come in peace. We do not want war. We want to understand. There was no answer. Then, one of the ships moved. A beam of light shot from its side. It hit Jupiter's moon, Europa. The ice cracked. A large piece of the moon broke apart. The ship did not stop. Jonah looked at the screen. That was the answer. They turned the ship around. We're going back, Alina said. Back at Mars base, they met with other scientists and officers. Dr. Karen Doyle had more news. She found another message in the Martian ruins. It says they came before. We tried peace. We tried to hide. We failed. They see all. They remember all. Jonah asked, how did they survive even this long? Karen said they didn't. The message is the only thing left. Alina thought about the stories from Earth's past. What if the legends are not just warnings? What if they are instructions? Lila nodded. Some myths talk about mirrors in the sky. Some talk about darkness stopping the fire. Maybe we can use that. Earth began building large defense systems. They placed satellites with mirror panels. They made ships with shields to reflect energy. But time was short. The fleet was almost at Mars. Alina made a bold choice. We go out again, we take the beacon. We try to lead them away. Nate was ready. I'll fly. If we die trying. They left Mars with the beacon set to pulse again. They flew close to the fleet. One ship broke off and followed, and two more. Jonah adjusted the beacon to change the signal. Maybe we can make them think we are something else, something they fear. The ship slowed down. They did not fire. They followed. Lena looked at the path. We take them toward the dark side of the moon. We have the mirrors there. If we're lucky, we trap them. Nate flew with care. One mistake, and they would be gone. The ship stayed close, but did not attack. As they reached the moon, the trap was ready. Earth's mirrors were aligned. The right moment, Jonah gave the signal. The beacon sent out a strong flash. The mirrors reflected it in many directions. The ship stopped. Then one of them turned and broke apart. The others paused. Then they scattered. Lena sat down. Her hands were shaking. Jonah whispered, "We did something. We hurt them," Leela added. "But they're not done. They'll come back." Alina looked at the stars. "Then we need more than science. We need to remember everything our people ever feared. Because that fear may be the only thing that saves us." The Horizon Ray returned to Mars. The crew was tired, but they were alive. The trap near the moon had worked. The fleet was hurt. One ship was destroyed. The others had pulled back. But everyone knew it was not over. Lena met with Dr. Karen Doyle and a group of scientists. Sat around a table in the Mars base command room. Karen placed old drawings on the table. Some were from caves in Africa, some from South America, some from ruins in Asia. "All of these stories tell the same thing," Karen said. "A fire from the sky, a war, then silence. But each story also tells how a few people survived." Lila looked closely at one page. It showed a shape like a circle inside another circle. This looks like the Martian symbol for hiding. "They made a place the ships could not see," Jonah added. "Maybe it's not hiding. Maybe it's a trick, a way to fool the ships into going somewhere else." Alina listened quietly. Then she stood up. "We need to think like them. These ships are old, maybe too old. Maybe they don't understand our ways. But they understand fear. They understand threat." Back on Earth, leaders were listening now. The people had seen the ships. They had seen Fort Titan fall. They knew the legends were true. New plans were made. The scientists worked day and night. They built more mirror fields, more decoy lights and signal towers. They used myths from every part of the world. They tested fire, sound, light, and shadows. They found that certain pulse patterns made the ships pause. Some made them turn. One made them run. The answer was not in weapons. It was in memory. Alina remembered her grandmother's voice. The stories were not just warnings. They were messages, maps, codes, passed through time. She stood with Leela at the top of a small cliff near Mars base. The stars were bright. The red dust blew around them. "We were never alone," Lila said. "No," Alina answered. "And maybe we were never weak either. We just forgot who we were." A message came through. Another ship was moving again. It was heading toward Earth. Jonah ran into the room. "It's the same one we hit with the mirrors. It's damaged. Slower, but still coming." Karen said, "This may be our chance. If we can stop one again, we might learn how to stop them all." Alina gave the order. The Horizon Ray would go out again. They would follow the damaged ship. They would try a new signal pattern found in an old tale from Iceland. It spoke of a hunter who tricked the fire giant with silence and mirrors. They flew close. The ship noticed them. It did not fire. It moved slowly, like it was searching. Jonah sent the pattern. A low sound, a blinking light, then silence. The ship froze. Nate held the controls. It's not moving. It's just ... floating. Lila checked her screen. I think we made it sleep, or pause, Karen added. Now we scan it. Everything. Inside and out. They sent drones to fly around the ship. The surface was smooth, dark, covered in strange marks. The drones picked up weak signals. It's almost like music. Or a voice. Jonah played it back. It was deep, slow, full of pain. They remembered too, Elena said. They fear us, or they fear something we became. Lila looked at her. Maybe they don't come to destroy. Maybe they come to make sure we don't become like the ones before. It was a new idea. What if the ships were not just weapons? What if they were guards or watchers? Lena sat down in her chair. It doesn't matter. We still have to protect Earth. The horizon ray backed away. The ship stayed frozen. The pattern worked. Now they had a tool. They returned to Mars. The crew shared the signal. Other teams began testing it. Some called it the sleep code. Others called it the silent light. The legends had helped them find it. The past had shown the path. Now, humans were ready to fight with memory, not just with guns. But they all knew it was not the end. It was only the beginning of something much bigger. The horizon ray stood on the landing pad at Earth's main defense base. The crew walked out slowly. People cheered for them. It's not because they won a war, but because they brought hope. They had shown that the ships could be stopped, even if only for a short time. Alina stood before the council. She told them about the signal, the old stories, the light patterns, and the meanings behind ancient words. She explained how fear passed down from one generation to the next had saved them. The council listened. This time, they did not laugh. They asked questions. They wrote everything down. Leela worked with scientists from many countries. They shared the sleep code. They tested it with machines, with lights, and with sound. They found small changes made it stronger. Jonah helped build more satellites with the signal device. They called them watchtowers. These watchtowers sent the code through space, always watching, always ready. Nate flew missions to drop signal pods around the moon, Mars, and Earth. He flew with speed and skill. Everyone respected him. Karen stayed in the Mars base reading more of the ruins. She found a final message. It was carved deep under the surface. It read, "We gave the fire a face. Then we feared it. Then we became it." She sent this to Elena. Elena thought about it for a long time. What if the enemy was once like them? What if humans could become the same in the future? The damaged ship near Earth had stayed frozen for days. But then, it began to move. Slowly, carefully, not toward Earth, but away. It turned back toward the edge of the solar system. One by one, other ships did the same. Some had been hit with the signal. Others had only seen the change in one of their own. People asked, "Why are they leaving? Did we win?" Elena answered, "Maybe they saw what we can do. Maybe they saw we are not what they feared." The council asked, "Should we chase them? Destroy them now that we can?" Leela said no. Let them go. If we strike now, we become the thing they were sent to stop. The council agreed. The order was clear. Do not attack. Learn. Prepare. Remember, months passed. The ships were gone. Space was quiet again. But the world had changed. Children now read the old myths in school, not as fantasy, but as truth. Families told the stories again. Legends became lessons. Elena started a new group called the Human Continuum Archive. It was a place where all stories were kept: Earth stories, Martian messages, and new ones from today. Leela and Karen wrote a book called The Fire Above. It was shared across the planets. Jonah kept working on better signals. Nate trained new pilots. Peace had returned, but everyone knew it could break at any time. One evening, Elena stood on a quiet hill near the base. She looked up at the stars. The sky was wide. The stars were cold, but they were not empty. Lila stood beside her. "Do you think they'll return?" Elena nodded. "Yes. One day. But next time, we'll be ready. Not just with tools, with memory, with story." Far out in deep space, the ships moved beyond the edge of the system. They left no trace, no sound. Only the stars watched them go. The legends had warned them. The people had listened. And that made all the difference.